Good
Howdy.
day, good day.
Hello, hello.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up? Good. Yeah, just jamming in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, in the good way or bad way?
Seems like that changes on an hourly basis. Sometimes things are great, riding the highs, and then other things it's just, fresh frustration and, the classic ebbs and flows, ups and downs of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That entrepreneur roller coaster, you can't get off.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to avoid it, and I think that's one of the things that most people don't necessarily understand or realize once they, or even if they're not doing it yet, they're trying to do it. I've been talking with a lot of people recently in Vegas about, basically like quitting their jobs or leaving the corporate world and then trying to start to do their own thing. And one of the things I always tell them is be ready to work more and make less money and have more stress, but and they're like, well, why would I even want to do that? I'm like, well, it's fulfillment. Like
It's
you
way
have
more
a life
satisfying.
purpose and it's satisfying. And like you get to work on your own thing and you don't have to like feel like you're working for someone else. But I think it's still so heavily favored towards the stress and not making money and all these other things that is what kind of serves that stat that we always kind of see where it's like most new businesses only last like a year. I think such a big piece of that is the people starting those businesses get burnt out or realize that they're just working so much and don't have time for other things. And I think for people like you and me who have been doing this for 10 plus years or whatever, or even longer, it's just kind of that's what I expect every morning to wake up to.
Yeah, from an outsider looking in, or especially looking on social media, you don't see anything from businesses that are a year old because it's so fucking difficult. So you're comparing your start of the journey with someone else who's been in it for like a decade and they're really
Mhm.
successful. And it's so easy to look at that and be like, oh, that's a clear shot. I can just do what they're doing. But what they're doing now is not what they did to get where they are.
Yeah.
And no one sees that first 12-month journey. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And I get this all the time. People tell me I want to start my own business, I want to do my own thing. And my answer is the same. I'm like, that's awesome. You should do it. It's going to be really hard and you're probably going to fail. So just start now. So that way you get your first failure out of the way sooner and you learn something and then you can get closer to your second effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Going the whole like idea of like going to zero or like kind of losing everything, that's only the monetary side of things or like the physical side of things. Like you don't lose the expertise and the knowledge and the experience. Like that's why I have this wall of failures. Like all these products and businesses and things that, I and we have tried over the years, it's like a great reminder just to be like, oh yeah, this is not easy.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's like the
having
classic saying, I've failed more times than you've even tried.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
totally.
real. That shit's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah, so it's that all that being said, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. This is what I'm going to do till I die. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, depending what you're starting as well, there's also a cash constraint. Like, you can't go forever without making income. You can't quit your job and be like, I'm going to do this full time and I'm going
Hmm.
to make it work. Like, it's very rare that you can turn it around in a couple months.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Especially if there's no, and I think that's one of the things why we both encourage people to start the thing while you still have the job. So that way you can see what it's like, kind of, do the 9 to 5, then the 5 to 9 type idea
Yeah.
and see if you can generate some action or do anything really. And then it's not so much of a Hail Mary jump. It's more of a natural transition and yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm also now more than ever, I'm a big believer in following your strengths and jumping into a business if you have no experience, just do something that's level one. You can't try to do something that's going to be really hard. And it's easy to look in and think that you're the exception to the rule and that you know how to hack the game and that you figured out how to overcome XYZ obstacles that every other entrepreneur has not been able to overcome without learning the lesson themselves. So, like, if you're just starting out, you really should start in a business that's easy, because first there's a much higher likelihood that you're going to succeed and you're going to build confidence and you're going to make money and you're going to learn a lot along the way, and you're still going to fail at something that's easy, but it'll be micro failures compared to investing a bunch of money into software, for example. Like, just getting basic business skills is a good first step.
That's it. I think that's one of the things that I've learned even just through talking together over the last couple of weeks when we've been doing this podcast. We're on episode 20, by the way, which is, I think,
Nice.
kind of cool. Seeing that there's like a split or a difference between what this idea or concept in business actually does, like the product or service that a business provides versus business skills, and like how to get customers, how to talk to customers, marketing, advertising, like operations. Like there's that whole side of things is, I think, what people maybe don't necessarily, taxes, finances, like those are core skills that you can't ignore, obviously, but it's not necessarily the actual business itself. And I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize is, or maybe they do, but it's just not as like, big of a picture compared to, oh, I want to provide this product or service to a customer.
Yeah, and it's not very fun to talk about, like, learning some of the basic fundamentals.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a sexy topic. No one really
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the sooner you can learn those lessons, the easier it's going to be on your
Yeah.
next time around.
Yeah. And the whole idea of the failures thing, I think we've talked about this before, where, the people, the quote unquote business idols that we kind of look towards, multi-billionaire, people, they all started their billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar business when they were older or after they have a couple failures under their belt. Those outliers of people that are young who have made that are like, those are the true outliers. And I think
Yeah, but unfortunately, those are the people that you end up seeing, that you end up
and
looking
those
up
are the
to.
people that we try to compare ourselves to, and it's like,
You can't.
I've also realized that I'm also not like, main character, type. Like there's other people that are better than me, and that's okay.
100%. 100%. I knew that lesson, but you kind of have to learn it on your own. I really learned that lesson recently,
Yeah.
but I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Just,
So looking back to, like, starting Stammer, do you feel like it's as challenging now as you expected it to be when you first started out?
yes, in different ways. I think when I first started it, I was really comparing at least the operations side to.
Sorry, Ross, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, toddler at home, pregnant wife, getting work done at the house,
Oh,
nonstop.
I
Anyway,
can
okay,
only
sorry. So
imagine.
yeah, the question was, do you think that it was as hard? Is it as hard now as you thought it was going to be when you were first starting out?
Well, I think when I was first starting out, I didn't even know what the problems or things were going to be from a technology point of view. So like running e-commerce brands and running an agency, and we've talked about that, like those are more level one type businesses that are relatively easier to operate and manage. And initially when like after I think maybe the first 3 to 6 months of running Stammer, I started to see a through line of the old C137 art business and how we were managing 20, 50 artists at the time, which nowadays that would have been just absolutely killed by AI. But I saw very similar, like a lot of similarities with managing artists as managing engineers and developers. And when you're building a software product, your engineering team is the core of your business, basically. And now what I've realized is that's even more so true with experience and progress on the platform. And as the platform becomes more complicated, everything inherently just becomes more complex and more difficult to manage. And that's something that I didn't even realize. I thought my problems were going to be the same problems that we had in the past, which was like, how do we get customers and how do we, this and that. But it's actually more of the internal side of the business, which is the actual core product. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so close to the product and have my hands like and fingers in every piece of the entire thing, because I know that if it meets my standards or how I think about things, then our customers are most likely going to be satisfied because I am that customer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that alone right now should be a lesson for everybody else. What if all you had to do was think about how good the product is, but you didn't have to worry about getting your customers to a certain degree? You're obviously still marketing and promoting, but the number of downloads or the number of trials that you're getting every day, it's unbelievable. Like really, your focus is on making the product as good as you can possibly make it. And that's the exciting point to be at. But you wouldn't be able to get to that point of being so product focused if you didn't already master the marketing and customer acquisition in other areas of business. Like all your past experience taught you how to acquire customers, how to build an audience. So you wouldn't even have the privilege to focus so intensely on the product if you didn't go through those other failures.
You're 100% correct. I'm totally glazing over the fact that I have this massive audience that I'm able to generate hundreds, if not thousands, of interactions, views. Like my Instagram right now is I think 1.3 million views in the last 30 days, all organic.
Yeah, that's
That
amazing.
would
You had to pay
cost
for that?
thousands, tens of thousands of dollars probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm getting opt-ins and people are taking action and engaging, and it's like, yeah, I take that for granted now because that's just, to me it's normal. But yeah, if I didn't have that, I'd be spending so much money and so much time on the marketing side. That being said, this last week or so, I've really split my day and really tried to be extremely focused on splitting my day, where from basically the second I wake up till about maybe 12 or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm focused on product. And because that's mainly when my engineering team is online and active, focus on product for that first work day, basically take a lunch break. And then the entire afternoon now, basically until nighttime when I go to the gym, is marketing and trying to create content and anything that relates around that concept. And so for the past couple of days, I've been posting on all social media channel or all my main, social media channels every single day. I've made a long form YouTube video every single day, which is, I don't know how long I'll be able to keep that up, but that's what it takes. And even with my audience and knowing that I can just kind of skate by without having to do anything, I'm now realizing that I need to double or triple down on that, because that's how you achieve true, explosive growth.
Yeah, especially because you can't just rely on your existing followers and your existing audience forever. It has to be, you got to fill the top of the funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've started to see even more now with my Instagram, is how I would say, I think it's like 70% of that 1.3 million is all non-followers, which is fantastic.
Which is where the money is.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, like, to me, that means that, like, beyond being a social proof metric, followers have no validity, or like they don't matter at all. So it really only helps people who are not in my audience become a part of that audience. But once they do become a part of that audience, they're most likely to not see my content ever again, which is so strange and backwards.
Yeah, a bit of a paradox. That's partially like just competing with TikTok, is that what helps you is not, actually, maybe I'm speaking from someone who doesn't have a large audience, but it's not about your existing followers. It's about all the new people that could possibly discover you. But I guess in your case, probably a little here, a little there.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been doing some mentoring with people who are starting on social media recently as well. And I'm telling them all to start with TikTok. And my reasoning behind that is because, and I mean, this is how I got my start initially as well, is where TikTok their algorithm is more of a democratic algorithm, in the sense that you don't have to have an existing audience to have a piece of content go viral. Every single piece of content is created equal on the TikTok algorithm. And so you could essentially post 5-10 times a day, and it doesn't matter, because each piece of content will be individual in how the algorithm sees it and tries to push it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I think you could make this a similar case for Instagram, not to the same degree, but like you still have a lot of opportunity for content to go viral. I've noticed that our videos that do well on TikTok do well on Instagram, and vice versa. It's pretty much the same thing. So it just comes down to the quality of content, basically.
Definitely. Yeah. And consistency. I think that above all, that is the great deciding factor.
Yeah, that's the piece that everybody struggles with, including myself.
It's tough. Yeah. And I think trying to make it easy for yourself. So like Instagram just came out with a new edits app, which I
downloaded it. Have you used it?
Yeah. So I started playing around with it, and I was hoping that they would have this one feature, and I'm so happy that they put this one feature in, which is being able to record the green screen style content videos inside of the edits app, which allows you to create that type of viral content, especially within our niche of kind of like, info products and things like that. It's just native in the app. So you don't need to go to TikTok or Instagram to be able to, or, to film that. And I've always struggled with that, because I wanted to be able to film something without having to be inside the app so I could edit it further. And now this edits app does that, which is great.
Yeah, I think it filled a big demand, because the native editor inside of Instagram is actually not bad. And they've just expanded on it and pulled it into this app.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think using some software like that, I recently just got these new Hollyland microphones, which is like these super tiny.
Sponsored by Hollyland.
Fucking send me some, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like these guys are great, because I have the Rode mics, and like when I'm trying to connect that you have to have the thing, and then you have to have the cable, then you have to put the thing somewhere, which means you need like a tripod. This thing just has this little guy that just plugs right directly into your phone, and it's perfect. And there's nothing else is needed. So I've been using this, or starting to use this with some short form content a lot recently, and it's so much easier to now film that content, simply for the fact of I don't have to connect 3 things together. I just plug something in and I can go.
Yeah, it's so true. Just the simplicity of having your setup in one spot makes it so much easier. Like the simplest things, like my mic is always hooked up, my tripod is always right there.
Yep.
And you just record.
Yep. Yep. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're been able to get to episode 20 is we can just sit down, we start talking, and there we go.
Yeah, for sure. And also
Yeah.
having the same time on the calendar helps.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. Yeah. So what about with you? With Bambi, are you like seeing different things now? Even, I mean, you're what, maybe like 5, 6 months into it?
Yeah, but I mean, all of that is dev time. All
Yeah.
of that is trial and error. It's like launch a product, it's shit, iterate, turn off ads, like just go right back to the drawing board, do it again. We've done that 3 times, and now it's really good. I sound like a broken record, but we have a really cool feature launching on Monday. I just keep going back and we're like adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. But what's interesting is like all the grunt work that I've put into, run paid ads, make content, advertise, like DM thousands of people at this point, just asking if they can use the app and give us feedback on it. All of that effort. And then I don't know what our downloads were at, but it was under 1,000. And then yesterday, one creator sent one email
I saw
to
this
her
tweet.
database, and we got 180 downloads.
That's
It's
insane.
like, which these numbers are hopefully going to sound really relatively small in even a couple months from now. Hopefully I'm going to be like 180, like, I don't care, whatever. But right now it's a big deal because it's our first sort of leap forward. But
Mhm.
I've been trying to figure out the best way to get users, and been speaking with other brands that are doing this and other media buyers and like people just in the digital world. And we have UGC creators, we have large influencers, we have micro influencers, we have cold emails going out to like corporations with community groups of parents to see if we can like infiltrate it from the top down. We have literally cold DMs going. We have our content, which is mediocre at best. Um, but what I've learned across everything is that paid ads for a mobile app, at least the way we're doing it, it's going to be pretty tough to get profitable when you're first starting out because you haven't reached that critical mass of hundreds of reviews or thousands of reviews on the App Store where you have that built up credibility. You have zero SEO. People are not finding you. There's zero word of mouth, which is going to be really important for any type of niche community. So for us, it's new parents that have kids under 2. It's like, everybody's going through a hard time together, so it's easy to form a community around that. That's why I think mom groups are so solid. It's because everybody is like struggling together. But what I've found is that I think the most effective way that we're going to grow is getting niche creators that have information-rich content on a very specific topic where their followers are only following and they're only watching their videos and signing up for their email list if they have a specific problem that creator solves. So I'll give you an example. The 180 downloads came from a baby sleep consultant. So if you have a baby that is under 12 months that is not sleeping, first of all, if you have not had a baby not sleep, I cannot explain to you how difficult it is. It sucks. It's really hard. So it's an immediate pain point that people are really trying to solve. So if her entire content, her entire audience is about people that are struggling to get their baby to sleep, it's just an immediate shoe-in because that's what
Yeah.
our product does. It's an app that helps your child sleep better and helps them eat better. That's it. So anyway, I think that is going to be really critical, is getting these people that already have built a following and have this like cult-like group of people that follow them and hang on their every word. That is going to be the game changer for us. But getting these large influencers, like we have one going out next week that has like 1.5 million followers. And I have a feeling it's going to be less effective than the person that sent one email yesterday to 30,000 people.
That
So
is a fairly large list.
it's a large list. Yeah, for sure. But she hasn't even posted on social media. It was literally one email that said like, hush hush, I've partnered with this company, and you can try it out if you want. It was very easy and nonchalant. So this is before any social media posts, but I think that this is going to be, just getting into these niche communities is going to be a more effective way to grow than getting some of these larger creators. That's my theory. I'll probably have a different idea next week, but right now that's what seems to be working.
I mean, it seems logical. It makes sense considering like the type of brand that you're creating. How, like, and I guess this would be a good question for myself and for everyone listening who's trying to do something similar, is how did you find these niche creators or communities?
It's a good question. Honestly, it's not hard. If you can either start a new TikTok account and you can just train the algorithm to only watch the content that you're interested in. That's what a lot of new brands do. Or what I'm doing is you find one person that you think is relevant on Instagram. You hit the little people plus button in the top right corner and see some other accounts that are similar to them. And I do it on my computer. It's much easier. And you just control or command click, open up 100 tabs of people that are all within the same sort of niche, same space, and DM all of them. And just ask if they're interested in doing a paid collab. And that's it. We have to pay for the right to access their audience, obviously. Yeah. But I think that it's going to be a faster way to grow than if I had to build up the audience on my own, which is not something that I'm inherently good at. So not only is it faster, but I think that it will be more effective at scale. Because if you can tap into dozens or hopefully hundreds of creators' audiences, it will just have this, like, I think that's how you're going to reach the critical mass, especially if you're working with dozens of people within the same niche. If you're working with dozens of baby sleep consultants, they all know about each other, right? It's just about time until it sort of starts to spread and it becomes easier to get in contact with these people.
Yeah. So when you're cold DMing, so that's actually interesting because that's not using any sort of platform. That's not using any sort of creator distribution connection service or agency or anything. Like it's kind of going back to the simple but maybe perceived as hard work. But when you say it like that, it sounds relatively easy. It just takes some time and effort.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even hard. It's just effort. Yeah. It's just copy and paste the same message. And you don't want to send more than 100 DMs in a day because then you're going to be identified as like spamming people. But just send 100 DMs, slightly personalize every message, and my response rate's like 10%. So if I get 10 people responding back saying, yeah, this sounds great, if I can convert at least one of them, that could be one person's audience that sends one email that gets 180 downloads. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
So are you structuring these DMs to route it as a brand deal?
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I can read it to you.
Okay.
Let me pull up my DM script. So I've been doing it 100% myself. I don't know how many DMs I've sent. Probably between like 2,000 to 3,000, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so here it is. It's, hey, John, I'm a new dad and tech founder. I built a baby sleep and feeding app that predicts naps, creates meal plans, helps parents through the chaos. The tech is solid. Now we're focused on getting in front of more parents. I'd love to partner with you on a paid collab. Are you open to chatting?
Nice. Okay.
That's it.
So you're opening with a, I want to do a paid collab.
Yeah, I'm just not trying to bullshit people.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, could you check it out and give me feedback? Like, I'm not trying to swindle anybody. I'm not trying to do an exchange of service. Well, we are for e-com brands, but that's different. But like, just straight up, I am willing to pay for you to talk about our app, and I'm probably willing to pay 10% of what you typically charge brands. So I have a low budget. I'm a new dad. Help me out. I'm bootstrapping this. Like, let's just try to make it work.
Yeah.
I don't have the budget to afford. I don't want to spend what most of these creators are charging.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
so you just have to lowball people and try to incentivize them in other ways. We're doing long-term contracts with an easy one-day cancellation. So it's not really long-term, but it feels like long-term.
Yeah.
And we're also offering revenue share, which is good. So if anybody sees the vision in the product, which is what we're hoping for, then they're going to be incentivized to get more downloads anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely having the words paid collab in that intro DM. I can't tell you how many DMs I get where people are trying to do the swindle method, basically, where they get me to respond, or they ask a good question. In my mind, I'm helping them out by responding and answering, but then they come in and like, oh, well, now I want you to do, extra. And I'm like, oh, get out of here. Like,
That's how they get you. It's like, you have so much experience. I'd love your advice on this. And then you, being the leader, you want to help. And that's how
exactly.
they get you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then now I have a bad taste in my mouth because I was like, oh, I wanted to help, but now I feel taken advantage of.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, I'm just being honest. I'm saying I'm willing to pay for you to talk about our app. We want
Yeah.
someone to really promote it. Like, we don't have a huge budget. It's a low ticket product. It's targeting new parents, so we're not trying to, gouge a bunch of money out of people. It's seriously valuable. And yeah, if you can talk about it, we'd really appreciate it. And then we just give some criteria. There's a lot of what I've noticed, there's a lot of little things that you can ask for that add a ton of value for us and take no time for them. Something as simple as sharing your post to your story with a URL linking to the App Store could double the downloads that we would get, and it's zero effort on their side.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
there's little stuff.
Do you think that would, because I'm trying to think like that message aligns really well, like coming from your account, you are a new dad, you don't have, a large following versus someone like myself who if I was trying to go to that route, like, oh yeah, full rate.
100%. So all of the DMs are from my personal account.
Yeah.
And I unsubscribed to Meta Verified intentionally. 'Cause I'm like,
Interesting.
I don't want to look like I'm anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this
that's
case,
interesting.
this is what we were talking about last week of like, everybody has an advantage. There's an advantage to being a nobody, to being small, to having no audience. You can play that to your favor. There's obviously an advantage of you attracting customers organically because you have a huge following. There's an advantage to me not having that because I can just be little Joe Blow off the street with this cute little kids that I'm trying to support. I'm trying to put food on the table. Like, help me out, buddy. Do me a favor. You gotta play the hand that you got. So
That's a really good piece of advice, though, for everyone listening. Like, take advantage of the small account in that way where you position yourself as just getting started, even if you have, I mean, in some cases, funding or whatever it may be.
100%. I'll even do little things. If I know that I'm about to DM 100 people and they're all new moms, I'll post a story of my wife and kid. It's like, obviously, I'm going to be more approachable then.
Perfect.
And I'm not being an asshole, but it's real. I'm not like pretending to have a family. It's obviously my actual family, but hey, you got to, use what you're dealt, use it to your advantage.
That's where it could go wrong, where you use AI to create a fake family and try to get people to go that way.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Don't do that. But I'm amazed. It was like, it's just pushing water uphill when you're first starting out. It's so hard. It's not like, if this was an agency with the amount of customers we have now, we'd be hundreds of thousands per month. Mm-hmm. But because it's a service, because it's a software, you have to try in the early days. You have to try so hard to get every single customer for their lifetime value to be $30. Like, it's nothing. So that's why I think just tapping into these niche creator audiences is going to be a game changer. They've already done the heavy lifting. They have like a course or a consulting. They're normally in service in some type of way. And we can just take advantage of their audience, give them an additional revenue stream. But yeah, we got more trials yesterday than what am I trying to say? Like half of our total trials came in yesterday.
Total.
Yeah.
Wow. So like a 50% growth in one day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Not double, but like, if we had 200, we got 100 yesterday.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So when you're running paid ads and when you're running these I'll call them influencer deals, are you directing users directly to the App Store to download and start a free trial?
Yep. Because that's the funnel.
Okay.
For an app, I think.
Have you thought about putting a piece in before that, like some sort of free guide or something?
Um, I haven't strongly considered it or tried it since the app has been launched. We did have in version 1, it was like we used Google Trends to find the 100 most commonly asked questions among new parents. So we had that running as a lead magnet. But ultimately, in my mind, if we're partnering with these micro creators, they already have an audience of people that are problem aware and willing to pay to fix the problem. And if you're talking about an app, you're talking about a solution, we're going to help you analyze your child's sleep and help them sleep better. We're going to help you like create meal plans that they don't throw off the high chair. Like, you should just give them the product, I think. I could be wrong, but also because it's a free trial, there's no commitment. It's like, this is exactly the thing we're selling you. You get to try it for free, and if you want to pay for it, then you can.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I think it would be worth A/B testing, at least, so you know for a fact that it's not as good.
Yeah, probably.
Because I always think of the value ladder and how people are so like against taking further action. They're willing to give their email and start like there, but the second that even if it's a free trial, like the drop off for us is insane. It's like 30% of new accounts created are trials. So like we have hundreds of people on a weekly basis that are not starting free trials. We still have their information.
We're the same. Our download to trial is like 25%.
Okay, well that's interesting. Maybe that's just like an industry standard thing then.
It might be, but here's something that I've learned the hard way that I probably could have just listened to from the beginning. But thinking that we were smarter than our competitors, our product is better. That's for fucking sure. It is. Objectively. But it doesn't matter. No one cares who has the better product. It's who has the better distribution. Yeah. I'm going to talk about that later when I give my content recommendation. But where was I going? Oh, yeah. I realized why they priced things the way that they did. So like our sleep competitor, Huckleberry, they have a free version, they have a paid version, and they have a premium version. Mm-hmm. And it now makes a lot of sense to me why they have why they have free and premium and not just paid, which is what we've been doing. Because the just paid customer is probably the hardest customer to convert. Everybody's going to convert on free. And then when you get them into free, you can show them, look, do you want this amazing set of features in paid? And then a small percentage of people will upgrade to the paid. And then if you're going to upgrade to paid, you're already willing to pay for the problem. If you enjoy those features enough, you'll probably pay to get premium anyways. So I have a feeling, I don't know, but I have a feeling that there's a larger percentage of customers that go from paid to premium than there is that go from free to paid.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where they recoup. In the premium price, that's where they recoup all of the money that they pay to acquire free customers.
Interesting. Makes sense.
So we're thinking about doing something similar. But for now, we're going to undercut everybody on price.
Yeah. Yeah. To get your first couple hundred LTV high custom, like even to figure out what your average LTV actually is. I mean, that'll take, I mean, probably a couple of years to figure out as people drop off, right?
Oh no, we have it. I don't want to tell you what it is.
I mean, you guys haven't been launched for even enough time though.
But that's the thing. That's exactly it. So our LTV right now is like $20, but it's because this is LTV from when we first launched, when the product was shit, truthfully. Mm-hmm. But now the product is really good. Our conversion rate from even free trial, download to, no, what am I saying? Our conversion rate from free trial to paid has gone through the roof since we released version 2.3.
Nice. Okay.
So much better. And now we have
Double digit?
What's that?
Double digit percentage?
Oh, yeah. Like above 50%, like
Oh, wow.
70% from trial
From
to paid.
Oh, wow. Nice.
We're
What
getting a
about
ton.
what about like new accounts or what about downloads to paid?
I don't know download to paid, but download to trial is like 25%.
Okay, and then 50% of that, so that would be like 12%. Okay. Ours is 11% or like 11.5%. This is
Interesting.
interesting.
Completely different market. Not even
Complete.
close. Completely
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
customer.
Okay. Okay.
That's really interesting. Now, I'm going to be
Interesting.
able to smooth out more of our metrics soon because we're going to have,
Yeah.
hopefully, a lot more downloads. I did the math today, and I don't think we're going to be that far off from, I don't think it's going to be so unrealistic to build $1 million business. I did the math on what it would be like to get to 12 million a year. Pretty hard. It's going to, you got to be pretty big.
Yeah.
But to get to 1 million per year, I don't think it's unrealistic. It's basically like it'll come down to about 1,000 downloads per day when I run the numbers. Will make us like $1 million a year. So I'm like, okay, well, one creator yesterday sent one email, no social post. We got 180 downloads. It's really not that far off. If we have more creators talking about it on socials, sending emails about it, having it as their link in bio, which is the next offer that I want to have for some creators. Because as you are growing your audience anyways, wouldn't it be great if we could just naturally like acquire some of that traffic?
Yeah.
So I'm figuring out what the offer is for that. But yeah, I don't think it's such a stretch to think that we could get to 1 million a year, 86,000 MRR. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think your LTV will grow over time. I mean, ours is still growing because
Yeah,
just with time.
I do want to. I think I do want to switch to a free version though, because I think that's where a lot of the value is in apps. Because you get so much more word of mouth, you get
Mm.
so much better SEO, and you'll have. That's how you go from like 100 reviews to thousands of reviews. This is a free version that people like and they're using, and
Hmm.
then you have paid, and then you have premium, just like our competitor was doing. So it's like I had to learn the lesson that they learned whatever a decade ago.
Yeah. What would be the barrier going from free to paid?
Like what? Yeah, what would be the difference in features?
Or yeah, like at what point would the pop up show like, oh, you need to upgrade to paid, or you should upgrade to paid?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I think I know loosely what it is in my head, but I haven't quite figured it out. There's, I can see the way that our competitors do it, which makes sense. I almost just morally don't want to directly copy them, but the way that they've set it up does make sense.
I mean,
So
the broken record of great artists copy and steal,
I
or
know,
whatever the hell that saying
I
is.
know. Fuck, that's honestly that's probably what we should do.
I
Probably.
mean, I have that. I still have that book of what is it? Austin Kleon's book. Yeah. Steal like an artist.
Yeah, I probably needed that today.
Words to live by, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
interesting. That's interesting that our numbers are eerily similar,
yeah.
which
In a
makes me
way,
think
it's
it
not
applies
that.
to basically everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. In a way, it's really not that surprising. Like the conversion metrics on ecom brands are very similar, unless there's a huge difference in price point, which I guess in our
Yeah.
case there is a huge difference in price. But
True. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, in a way, it's kind of just human nature and psychology. The 80/20 rule applies to everything, literally everything. Your conversion metrics, no matter how good you are, they're never going to be 100%. Like you're not going to break out of the norm to such a massive degree that you're going to be like this big outlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good lesson to internalize too, where it's, I'm not the one or I'm not the outlier. Like we're all average. What That's I think
I
one of
know
the
what book you're about to show me.
yeah, this one. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
You're all the same. You're not
You are
cool.
not special.
You're
That's the
not
lesson.
special. Yeah. Like yeah, just in turn like it's funny how like we read that and we talked about it, but then it's like to really and truly internalize that information, it takes these types of like that this amount of time and work on it and having the conversation to then for it to stick.
That's actually one of the. I'm almost done listening to the podcast 44 Harsh Truths by Naval Ravikant and Chris Williamson. I mentioned this one a few times. So I guess 3/4 into it, that's one of their lessons of like everyone starting out thinks they're the exception to the rule. You think that you will not trip the same wires that every other entrepreneur before you has tripped, but you will find out that you are the same. You will make the same mistakes, and it is as difficult as people say it is.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I gotta listen to that one.
It's so good, dude.
I've
It's
been
so
seeing
good.
so many clips of it.
It's taken me, I don't even know, like over a month now to get through it because I just don't have that much time on my hands. Obviously, I'm
Yeah,
either working with the kids, but
yeah.
yeah, it's such a good one. Anyway, okay, next up, latest growth hack. What have you been doing lately to grow Stammer?
So I mean, I've talked about this in a lot of my like social media groups or like whenever I'm consulting other people and businesses where how do you make content that doesn't just get you views, shares, or whatever, but you can actually gain real data like an email list. And obviously that's kind of the bread and butter of I think a lot of these, basically any business and anybody really, any audience. Like your audience is only really good as long as the platform puts you in the favor of the algorithm. The second that happens, you're cooked. And how do you kind of control or get around that is you have a list of emails that you can send an email to get 180 downloads at the snap of a finger. So what's the best way to do that? And in my opinion, it's using specifically with Instagram, it's the comment DM automation strategy where you get people to comment or DM you a specific keyword and then you send them a link to something to download that is for free. And then now you have an email list. And so many people, even larger accounts, like still don't do this because they feel like it's like scammy or I don't know, like it's just, they haven't really considered it. But when you have the flow of that working and it's converting at a high rate, it's just like, oh, why haven't I been doing this the entire time? So what I've been testing a lot recently is different ways to do that method, whether it's within a carousel post where I put the slide at the end that says, comment or DM, like it's a physical slide in the carousel that says to do X, Y, or Z, versus putting it in the caption, versus putting it within one of the carousel slides that makes it smaller, so that way it's not as noticeable. And I've been trying all these different versions, and the best one that I've found is basically do them all. Like put it in the caption, put it on every slide, put it at the end slide, because some people may see one or the other, but not the other one or whatever it may be. And so I've been doing that last few days. And I mean, I'm getting hundreds of downloads on this thing. And it's just something very simple. I've just found a bunch of unique image prompts that I found on Twitter, put them in a Notion guide, linked back to the people that made the original post. That way they get credit. And then I'm just offering, like, I'm curating interesting content. I'm not trying to like copy or do anything with it really. I'm just like, here's something that I found interesting that I think you will also find interesting. It goes back to how I initially got started creating content when I was sending you, here's a cool website that does this. And you're like, bro, you got to make a TikTok on this. Same thing. Like it's just curating interesting content that I think my audience finds interesting, and it's not about my business or anything related really to my business. It's just growing that list with semi-related information and then trying to convert them and get them to move up that value ladder to eventually become some sort of paying customer in some way.
Yeah, your content is your business adjacent, but it's interesting that you put the comment CTA in every different place. Like it no matter how people use Instagram, they're going to see it. They're either going to swipe through the content, get the last card, they're going to see it as the caption.
Yeah.
I forget what your other option was. Keyword and bio, maybe? I don't know if you're doing that.
Yeah, on the slide here. So I mean, this one has 600 comments. So I put it in
Funny, I
the
like that one. I zoomed in on the images.
right. So I put it in the caption, and then this one's just at the end. So this one just has the slide at the end. So this one was just those two. This one has it in the caption. It has it. Oh, did I post the same thing? Oh, shoot.
That's so interesting.
Might have just posted the same thing without even realizing it. But now this one has it in the image.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. I made all these a while ago. So I'm just putting it multiple times, and it's at the end.
Nice.
I just
Yeah, so
posted
the
this
user
one a little
can't miss
while
it.
ago. Yeah, they can't miss it. And then obviously it is in my link in bio where I have my free guides and resources, which then brings people to the Gumroad, which they can now see the download.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah, so I think especially when you're getting started with content, like figuring out what your value ladder is, even if you even if you're not trying to do anything. And I keep going back to how I'm, consulting some new content creators. Like one of my first questions to them is like, are you trying to make money doing content? And it's okay to say yes. Like we all want that, whether we say it or not. And then it becomes, okay, well, here's realistically how you can do that and how you can build an audience that you control, that you can make money with. So it's always trying to figure out like, here's what you are and what your main thing is. And like, let's make content around that thing that gets people to be interested in the main thing.
Yeah. 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 The content can be adjacent to the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Which I think
actually the difference in how I see people when I contact influencers. A huge difference in the people that charge a lot and the people that charge a little is the people that are trying to get paid from a single video from a brand versus the people that have a core business that use the content to drive traffic to their core business. They charge more because they're making more in their business already and they don't care about a brand deal. But the people that their entire business is making content, they're willing to charge less, and it's not going to convert as well.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Like if you get you to make a content about AI, so much more relevant because it's not like every post is a brand deal. But if you get someone that's like an affiliate for every XYZ AI company making content about you, it's like, yeah, he literally just promotes businesses.
And then I lose credibility and I've been very extremely focused on that in this last like kind of year and a half to only work with reputable companies that I actually like or I test out their products and it's actually good.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of AI companies that are DMing, oh, I'll give you $60 for a post. I'm
Fuck you, dude.
like, get out of here. Like now
Cost
my
me more
rate,
to respond to this message than I would make.
Now I just increase my rates basically like every time. And if somebody says no, I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like no worries. Like best of luck. But
Yeah.
to each his own.
All right, let's move to content recommendation. What do you got for the
We
people?
do right before we have content, we're starting to get some comments on our YouTube video. So I feel like we do some comment shout outs.
All right.
Why Lebanon or Lev Anon, hopefully I'm saying that right. He says, "Hey, I just wanted to say your podcasts are super insightful. Keep it up." Thank you very much for that
Nice.
comment.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. These are
Appreciate it.
very long form videos, so I actually really appreciate the comment. That's very nice.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and definitely go subscribe to us on YouTube. It's all under my YouTube channel, Ross Fledderjohn. Leave a comment. We'll shout you out. Appreciate everyone for taking a listen. That being said, that was our one comment from last week. So we're moving right into content recommendations. What's your one for this week?
All right, so this one, this guy is so good. All right, I was going to share my screen, but it doesn't matter. His name is Nick Saraev, Saraev. And this video is called The 8 AI Trends That Will Change Business Forever. But the cover photo of the video is, wait, I just lost it. Hang on. This is so relevant. It's going to be worth the wait. Yes. Distribution over product. That's the topic. And he talks about what is so important now is that your ability to make a product is so much less important than your ability to produce it. Your ability to memorize material and know how to build things is so much less important than distribution within reason. Like, obviously, I still hire developers from what I'm doing. So do you. It doesn't take away the fact that you do need like really good tech, but ultimately, there are so many prompting tools. There's Lovable. There's like, I can't even list them all because you know it way better than I do. But it's so easy to prompt your idea into reality and get an MVP out. And what matters more is your ability to get it into the hands of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Broken record.
If you build it, they will come does not exist ever.
Never.
Never.
Not now. Long gone. Long gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That AI made the the great equalizer, I think, with that, with like you said, prompting things into existence. Like OpenAI came out with their image API yesterday, and within an hour I had a MVP of an app working where I was using the API to generate images within a specific context that could connect with my AI agents on Stammer.
That's great.
Within an hour.
Wow.
And like, yeah, so yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy.
It actually came at such a good time too, because we have a meal planning feature inside of Bambi, and I wanted to generate images of every meal that a user creates, and now we can.
There you go. You could.
I don't know if we'll be able to implement it because it's gonna be way too expensive for an API cost for everything.
It is very expensive.
Yeah.
I spent probably $8 yesterday in testing just on the API.
Oof. Okay, yeah, we're not gonna implement it. Sorry, everyone.
So, yeah, it's one of those things where I think like if you have an existing platform, and I think the way that we're going to implement this is like as long as you put in your own API key. They also implemented a organization verification step, and they basically now OpenAI now requires you to verify your organization by putting in your ID and doing a 3D face scan, just like you would with the government, basically. Because they know that if they have businesses using their API to generate bad images or NSFW or images of likeness of real figures, they're open to massive lawsuits. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's verified on somebody else's, like, oh, it's on that organization, it's their fault.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh man. So I mean, I had to do that yesterday. I had to like literally verify myself with them, which I was like, all right, I know. Whatever, but like
just another thing.
Yeah. Just another, yeah. It's not like all my information's not already out there, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Just another face scan. What's the difference?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an annoying one, but yeah.
It's
so,
the start of regulation.
Yeah,
it's only going to get
sure.
tighter.
Yeah, especially with how it seems like OpenAI is kind of cozying up with Microsoft, who is like this with the government. So
yeah.
Anyhow, my content recommendation is actually two creators that are gaining some popularity on Instagram and YouTube alike. Harper Carroll and Cat GPT. They're both basically like they're creators that help explain AI concepts in like a non-pretentious way. And I found it to be super interesting on how to position content for the general masses of people that are just trying to understand what this stuff can do and how it can apply to their lives. So I've followed them both. I think they're both they have both really interesting content. So I would check their profiles out and their content and give them a follow.
Nice. Yeah. Great tip. I've got Cat GPT here. This looks really interesting.
Yeah, both. I think they both went to Stanford, so like right down the street from me at Santa Clara. But they're both extremely smart. They can explain stuff in a way that makes sense to the average Joe. And that's so hard to do when you know what this stuff can actually, when it's from like a technical point of view.
Yeah, especially AI, and it changes so quick. You really have to have a research source. Like my information source for AI is you, so it's good to have a couple other tools.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean that I get information from them as well. So it's it's mutual.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of a tight knit community actually for like AI creators.
Yeah, there's actually another one that I'll mention on brand Nat, I believe. I think she's in Australia, I believe. But same kind of thing, like helps explain AI to the general public.
Yeah. Nice. Good tips. Cool. Well, this has been a good one.
We're getting better every episode.
Yeah. Getting a little quicker.
Yep. Cool.
I had a little wind in my sail this time. Like I got that big boost yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah,
I saw that.
This.
I saw that tweet where you posted a screenshot of all the downloads and like, oh fuck yeah, let's go, dude.
Yeah, like 100 downloads in an hour. It was exciting.
And they all were trials, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just downloads; those were trials.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Hell
and
yeah.
there was a little runoff this morning. Got 26 trials today. It was pretty exciting.
Dude, there we go.
All right, I can go down the whole rabbit hole. Now I'm looking at my stats. I'll save it for another time.
In a year's time, we're going to be looking at, oh yeah, just 100 downloads? Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a problem. I know.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool. All right, man. Good chat.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.